Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Myself Monica, and in today's video I want to tell you that I will make sure that because of this one mnemonic you will learn everything about E. coli, that is Escherichia coli. Okay, oh my god, Escherichia coli, you will learn everything about it. Okay, so now let's get started. So the mnemonic, okay, that will see, and microbiology is so vast. Okay, in our syllabus there are so many things to remember, and you cannot mug up everything. You have to be smart, okay, and you have to use your mnemonic as a trick, isn't it? So now let's get started. So the first thing that I have as a mnemonic for this is E. So we are about to learn about Escherichia coli, and the mnemonic for this topic is also Escherichia coli. Yes, with this much of the two words, from these two words we will complete everything, almost everything that we have to learn from this topic um, about this bacteria. Okay, so now let's get started. So the first thing that you hear is E. Okay, and this E is also very important. You know why? Because from this E, okay, you get the name of the classification of E. coli on the basis of gastrointestinal manifestations. Yes, it is very important to know the classification of E. coli. It is almost a very hit question. So to know this classification of E. coli, let us start with E. The first E of this Escherichia coli stands for its classification on the basis of the gastrointestinal manifestations. The first one that starts is the entero, okay, enterotoxigenic E. coli, enterotoxigenic E. coli. The second one is the entero hemorrhagic E. coli. Okay, enteroinvasive E. coli. Fourth is pathogenic E. coli. Enteroaggressive E. coli. So at first, E stands for enterotoxigenic, enterohemorrhagic, enteroinvasive, enteropathogenic, and enteroaggressive E. coli. So now it is really important. I have said it multiple times that this classification is highly important, because you will be asked like what does the enterotoxigenic E. coli does? What does it causes? Then you have to tell it. Since there is T, so it causes the disease starting from T, that is the travelers diarrhea. Enterohemorrhagic, okay, now there is next thing is that is enterohemorrhagic E. coli. This enterohemorrhagic E. coli, it causes the bloody diarrhea. What it causes? Hemorrhagic means blood, so it causes the bloody diarrhea. And the very important thing that you have to remember from enterohemorrhagic E. coli, okay, the next thing that we have to remember here is enterohemorrhagic E. coli shows somewhat similarity with the Shigella, okay. Almost these enterohemorrhagic E. coli, diarrhea due to enterohemorrhagic E. coli and Shigella almost similar. So only the one thing that helps to differentiate whether it is enterohemorrhagic E. coli that is causing this disease, this problem, or that is Shigella, is stool contains no leukocytes, which distinguishes it from dysentery caused by Shigella. Okay, so if we had to differentiate between whether it's Shigella or enterohemorrhagic E. coli, then there is no leukocytes in the E. coli. There is no leukocytes in the E. coli. There is no leukocytes in the E. coli. Once again, enterotoxigenic E. coli causes the traveler's diarrhea. Tell with me. Enterotoxigenic E. coli causes traveler's diarrhea. T and T similar. Enterohemorrhagic causes the bloody diarrhea. It can be differentiated from Shigella by the help of leukocytes, which causes not present in enterohemorrhagic E. coli. The next one is enteroinvasive E. coli. Enteroinvasive E. coli causes a dysentery, and it is mostly prevalent in the developing countries. Okay, enteroinvasive is mostly prevalent in the developing countries. Please note it down. I'm not writing everything. Okay, I will not write everything here. Just whatever I speak and whatever I say, please take a copy with you and take a pen and start writing it, and start mugging up with me. Okay, let's learn together, and I think that will really be fun. Okay, so enteroinvasive E. coli, so once again it causes dysentery and it is prevalent in developing countries. Resembles shigellosis. It also resembles shigellosis clinically. And next thing is the enteropathogenic E. coli. So pathogenic here, P goes for pediatric. Pediatric means children. So enteropathogenic E. coli are usually the cause for the infant diarrhea, that is pediatric diarrhea. P and P is similar, so there is no bloody stools, but there is large amount of the mucus. There is no bloody stools, but there is large amount of the mucus. And enteroaggressive is the cause for the diarrhea in the infants in the developing country. Okay, in a developing country. So this is all about the E. Okay, E of the Escherichia coli. So once again, enterotoxigenic E. coli, enterohemorrhagic E. coli, enteroinvasive E. coli, enteropathogenic E. coli, and enteroaggressive E. coli. So 5 names, you have to know it, and this you will not forget when you have this mnemonic, that is Escherichia coli. In your exam hall, just write this and start remembering everything that we have learned in this video. T, the traveler's diarrhea. Hemorrhagic means bloody stool. Enteroinvasive means that goes for dysentery. Pathogenic, P stands for pediatric, and enteroaggressive E. coli means for the diarrhea in infant in the developing countries. The next thing that also you have to remember is its pathogenesis. Pathogenesis is really important for the pathology. If you want, then I can make a separate video for it. Now the video will be very long. If I go for pathology, we have to study the pathology of everyone. It is all the 5 one. So we will talk it on the next video, or if you want it, and only I can make that video. So now let's go for second one, that is S. Okay, this is S. Escherichia coli, S. So as as in this Escherichia coli stands for specimen collection. What? Specimen collection. So we have to know that how it is collected, because Viva, usually the professors, they might ask, how do you collect the specimen for E. coli? They might ask. Okay, there's probability for everything. So E. coli, the collection depends upon the types of lesions. We can have the specimen. So since it causes diarrhea, so obviously feces or rectal swab in acute diarrhea are the most important thing. So just have a concept, E. coli diarrhea. If diarrhea is there, then obviously there is usually present in that stool. So obviously feces or rectal swab or early morning clean catch mild stream urine in UTI. So early stream fresh urine can also be used if there is chances of any UTI. Okay, and then after pause from wound in the sterile cotton swab, CSF in pyogenic meningitis. So these are the four things. So just go for a specimen. What you can go is for feces. I'll first of all remove. So this specimen collection, okay, I have dropped the other extra point. Please, if you want them, then go back to the video and look at it. So specimen collection like feces, urine, wound swab, and the next thing is CSF in pyogenic meningitis. So these are the things that can be collected during the specimen collection of E. coli. Now specimen collection is also done. Okay, now another C. Okay, another C stands for culture. Okay, another C stands for the culture. So usually in culture, um, okay, we might be asked like what is the structure, like what is the morphology of the E. coli in this agar or that agar, or what is the morphology seen when we culture it. Okay, so C stands for, it is found in colonies, colorless, convex, circular. So everything that starts from C. If you remember the C of Escherichia coli, and then if anyone asks you the morphology, say then say colorless, okay, convex, circular. Okay, you can say that colonies. Okay, in the culture. So culture is usually done by three types of agar: nutrient agar, McConkey agar, and blood agar. Once again, listen carefully and say it with me: nutrient agar, blood agar, and McConkey's agar. Nutrient agar, blood agar, and McConkey's agar. Once again, nutrient agar, blood agar, and McConkey's agar. So in that agar, in Newton agar, at 37 degrees centigrade, colonies are large, thick, colorless, and moist. Large, thick, colorless, and moist. In McConkey agar, pink, circular, convex, smooth, non-viscous colonies with clear-cut margins are seen, and it is seen pink due to lactose fermentation. Okay, and the spatula blood agar pathogenic strains are beta hemolytic. So I will go with that thing also. First, now for you have to remember C stands for culture, and culture, the colonies, you can just remember 3 points, and after you remember 3 points, you can also remember the other points, which are thick, colorless, moist, pink, and non-viscous colonies. Okay, and other things. Now let's go for H. Okay, what does H stands for? So H here stands for, okay, H here stands for, where is my black marker? Hemolytic. It is beta hemolytic. What it is? Beta hemolytic. So E. coli first, its types in GI mode according to the GI motility. Then we got for specimen collection. Now we went for culture also, and we went for 3: colorless, convex, circular, blood agar, nutrient agar, McConkey agar. And now we haven't gone depth of those collection, what are the morphology in those culture, but we just know 3, that is colorless, convex, and circular. And also we know other things like moist, thick, pink, beta hemolytic. So yes, in blood agar it shows beta hemolytic. In blood agar, pathogenic strains are beta hemolytic. What they are? They are beta hemolytic. So ESCH, it is finished. Now we have already completed almost half of this mnemonic. Now we have already discussed about E, so we don't need this E. Okay, there is no need for this extra E. Okay, now we will go for the R. So R here stands for the methyl red. Methyl red. Since R is present, so methyl red positive. So biochemical reaction is also very important. We must never forget to write about the biochemical reaction of every bacteria, virus, or parasites, or any kind of microorganisms. So now R stands for methyl red positive. We know that the biochemical reaction of the E. coli goes for methyl red positive. Now there is I also. I stands for indole. Okay, indole positive. Indole positive. So that means methyl red and indole positive. Okay, but Worgus Perskor and citrate utilization is negative. So since that is not present, so if you are, if whether it is citrate positive or not, then you can say it is citrate negative. Okay, and the next one is Worgus Perskor negative. So I think all of you know about this. I am okay. VIC plus plus minus minus. This mnemonic in indole, methyl red, Worgus Perskor, and the citrate. So that's positive positive, negative negative. Remember this mnemonic, and this is enough for you to remember biochemical reaction. And about fermentation, then it definitely ferments most of the sugars like lactose, glucose, mannitol, maltose with the production of acid and gas, but it does not ferment the sucrose. So this was about the R and I. So first of all, enterotoxigenic, enterohemorrhagic, enteroinvasive, and all of the characteristics. Then we have this specimen, then we have this color convex, whatever it is, and then H we go for hemolytic, then R it is for methyl red, I it is for indole positive. Okay, so now we have already made a mnemonic from C, H and I. So again we don't need the C, H and I of the E. coli. Okay, do not get confused with the repeated words. Now there is A. So from A we get to know about the virulence factors. So adhesion factors and antiphagocytic capsule are the virulence factor of this E. coli. So adhesion factor. Okay, and the next one is the antiphagocytic capsule. Virulence factors are also important. Okay, we should know the virulence factors. So there are many virulence factors. That is, enterotoxins are already there one very important virulence factor. Then there is adhesion factors, antiphagocytic factor, and there is verotoxin also, which comes in the verotoxin comes in this enterohemorrhagic E. coli. It usually causes damage due to verotoxin. So you got to know about the virulence factor also. What? Adhesion factors, antiphagocytic capsule, enterotoxin, and the verotoxin. Enterotoxin, verotoxin, adhesion factors, antiphagocytic capsule. So till now, see, so many things you learned just by the title name of the same the title name of the topic, that is E. coli, Escherichia coli. E stands for the toxin names, specimens, culture, hemolytic, methyl red, indole positive, and the adhesion antiphagocytic capsule. Now we will go for last, that is coli. So the coli, I would like to rub here this one, all these things. Okay, and just write it here. This coli. So li bacilli, coli bacilli. So E. coli, Escherichia coli is a gram negative bacilli. So how to know that whether it is gram? Okay, gram. I'm not telling by mnemonic. How can you know that it is gram positive or gram negative? So if in the mnemonic, if we had studied about being gram positive and anything like that, then you could have wrote down there it is gram positive. But since in mnemonic there is nothing we have studied about it, there is no inclusion of any is gram, whether it is gram positive or not, whether we have not even discussed whether there is E. Having E, we have not said it is encapsulated. Okay, so it is also non-capsulated. If it was capsulated, then we will have said that it is capsulated, or we will have used C as a mnemonic. But since there is no capsule, so it is it is non-capsulated bacilli. It is non-capsulated bacilli, gram negative bacilli, coli bacilli, coli bacilli. Gram-negative, non-sporing, non-capsulated bacilli, which has it is motile Petritricus flagella. So okay, as I said that I have not completed all the thing, but almost majority of them I have discussed here. Even if you write this much about E. coli, I think you'll definitely gonna survive in your exams. And E. coli, whenever you get the name of E. coli, please remember that it is a major cause for the UTI infections, septic infection of fluid, septicemia, and but the mostly it is used for it is found in UTI infections. 60 to 80% of UTIs are caused by E. coli. This you have to remember. You don't need to know mnemonic. Okay, this fact should be remembered. What is the major cause of UTI? E. coli. What is the major cause of E. coli? UTI, that is E. coli. So this was about the mnemonic for Escherichia coli. I hope you liked it. If you want more such interesting mnemonics to understand microbiology and make it fun and easier, then please to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Have a nice day.